My name is Allison Johnson. I'm an evolutionary biologist working at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I studied the evolution of social behavior in birds. I was incredibly lucky, and while birding with my family in high school, I met Dr. Charles Brown and Dr. Mary Bomberger Brown, who studied cliff swallows. When I expressed an interest in their work, they offered me an opportunity to become a field assistant and taught me how to study birds. That experience convinced me to go to grad school, and I ended up at the University of Chicago working with Steve Pruitt-Jones on fairy wrens in Australia. Fairy wrens, like the purpleback fairy wren I study, are what we call cooperative breeders. This is a social system in which a breeding pair are joined by young birds we call helpers, who help the parents raise additional kids. They're usually big brothers that hang around and feed their newly hatched siblings until they fledge or fly away. These helpers sometimes stick around for years when they could be making their own nest instead. So this raises the question, what are the benefits of being social? Now, to make this a bit more addressable, I asked instead, does group size increase reproductive success in the purple-backed fairy wren? With this answerable question, I of course had to go collect data. We caught and color banded all the birds in our population, found nests for each group, and of course counted group size. And when we analyzed the data, we found that purple-backed fairy wrens with helpers at the nest were more likely to fledge young. This suggests that for this species, there's a major benefit to living in family groups and breeding cooperatively. Now, this is a cool finding, but we know that social behavior is hugely varied. Would we find this same pattern in other fairy wren species? So I talked to other scientists. Not everyone working on fairy wrens had as clear results that I did. And my friend Joe Welklin and I started wondering, were each of the 10 fairy wren species in Australia just inherently different from one another with different group sizes and group compositions? Or was it partially because we were studying them in such different environments? And this idea led us to a new question. Is family size in fairy wren species determined by the climate of their habitat? We thought that a species like the purple-backed fairy wren that gains benefits from helpers would have large group sizes in poor environments where it's harder to find food, and those helpers can be super helpful, but small group sizes in easy-to-survive in environments where they're not as necessary. And this required new and different data. The great thing about this question is it's actually pretty straightforward to answer. We just counted as many birds as we could in social groups from a region of high rainfall to a region of low rainfall. And we found exactly what we were expecting, that purple-backed fairy wrens have large group sizes in poor environments with low rainfall and small group sizes in high rainfall environments where helpers aren't as necessary. This tells us that this variable trait is at least partially shaped by the physical environment in a somewhat predictable way. So why does this side journey matter? This helps us understand how the environment shapes the world around us. This work was made possible by the support of the National Science Foundation. And this video connects to a free middle school educational unit from Galactic Polymath. Check them out. Links are in the description.